Warriors, and welcome back to the Gym in the Crypto episode 1320. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto most days, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. ish. And today's top stories: VanEck eyes BNB ETF with latest Delaware trust filing. Circle files for IPO, initial public offering plan for April. GameStop finishes $1.5 billion raise to add Bitcoin to its balance sheet. And GoMining launches $100 million Bitcoin mining fund for institutional investors. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a look at these prices. Ooh, all right. Bitcoin still coming in sideways, of course, $85,706, up 2.86%. Ethereum, $1,875, up 0.76%. Number 4, Ripple XRP, $2.12, down 0.44%. Number 5, BNB, $604, actually down 1.6%, which is interesting since they have this news coming out today. It kind of shows you how this market isn't responding to every new thing at the moment. Solana, number 6, $127, down 0.66, or excuse me, up 0.66%. Number 8, Dogecoin, 17 cents, up 1.7. 9, Cardano, 68 cents, up 1.4. And Tron at 10, 23 cents, up 1.37. Fear and Greed Index has went down again to 29. Altcoin season 15 and 100, whatever that actually means. I still don't know yet. Bitcoin dominance is almost at a 62, 61.9%. Ethereum dominance is still sitting low at 8.3%. And those are your prices on the day. And other than that, let me get some quick shout outs to the Warriors. Shout out to Trek. I seen those that good episode this past couple of days. Shout out to him as well. As Black Rue, man. He's making some great videos too. Make sure you all check those out as well. And of course, shout out to the chat right now. Shout out to the Warriors, Laura Smith, Magnolia, Satoshi Slim, 5150 Gamer, Chloe Dior. If you know, you know, got a lot of wisdom bars, JB, Elmatic, Jump Out Girls. Good morning, good morning, good morning. News cycle is in a bit of a retracement. I kind of said that a couple of days ago. That's why I'm going every other day right now. We haven't missed any news for the most part. A lot of movement on the background as far as institutional side of the house. But to me, it looks like a lot of these institutions are looking to sell bags. It looks like bags are looking to be filled. So let's go ahead and get into it. Top story of the day. I told you at this point, if it can be ETF or derivatized, as I made up that word, it will be. It looks like BNB is officially the next and latest token with its eyes on the ETF. VanEck eyes BNB ETF with latest Delaware trust filing. VanEck has filed to register a Delaware trust company for a potential spot BNB ETF in the US, marking a first for the crypto asset. Makes sense to me, right? I think they've already said they want Dogecoin. They said Aptos, which is number 35. I covered that here. It was another one that was like number, between 10 to 20 that we just Avalanche as well. So it makes sense. Why not BNB like you're going to do the rest of them? I won't rehash this entire story. You all can look at old episodes, but as I've been saying, essentially since last year and at this point now is yes, if it can be derivatized, if you can make an ETF, ETP, or whatever else out of it, they're going to do it. And now that they've essentially made a blanket statement to where no one's going to be looked at as a security, why not turn them all into ETFs? So I think that's where we're going. It will take some time. Most of these are just being put in right now, like I said, because I think these institutions know there will be some pushback. They probably will be refused the first time through, but at least they get the reason it was being refused or turned down, and they can go back to the lab and work on improving that product to reintroduce it to the SEC and get their ETF. So I don't expect none of these to go through immediately, right? If anything, we might see what we saw with the Bitcoin ETFs, where they allowed multiple companies to get the Bitcoin ETF on the same day. If anything, we'll see this being pushed off another 6 months or so until all of these task force come up with some clearer guidelines and regulation. Once we have that, I think they'll circle back toward the end of this year. Maybe, we still got a lot of year left, so it could happen toward the end of this year. If not early next year, they'll circle back and say, fine, we'll give you a bundle of ETFs all at the same time. So you could see all at the same time. You get an Ethereum one, a BNB one, a Dogecoin ETF, an Aptos ETF, all at the same time. You have that Bitcoin and crypto reserve going on as well. So interesting times as far as what's going to happen with these ETFs. Is going to be even more interesting to see, will it pump the market as far as dollars, right? You're bringing in all these portfolios and balances and cash, and you're buying crypto and Bitcoin with it through the institutions. Will we see that price reflected on the crypto side of the house when the bag's being bought, or will we see a eventual slow drain to where we're seeing money that could have been in the Bitcoin and crypto market cap leave and go back to the traditional market cap through ETFs? And I know that's what the institutions and the governments really want. They don't want to see all that capital going into crypto from the retail side of the house. They much rather see it go into crypto from the institutional side of the house, because then they can make those big moves where they say, hey, we got 400 million inflows a day. Oh, tomorrow we got 600 million outflows. Why? Because they're the ones controlling it. So, bottom line is, hey, BNB ETF is next up, at least on the list. And we can expect to see that as well as multiple other ETFs once they finally cut that ribbon and say, fine, we're ready for just the madness that's will ensue once we, again, making up new words, derivatize this entire market. But the good thing is, in the short term, this can only be good. These are base hits. It's going to get more people interested and involved in crypto, and it should pump the bags on the short term. It's just that long term, we're kind of looking at what's exactly going to happen and remains to be seen. All right, another bag being bought. Circle files for initial public offering planned for April this month. USDC stablecoin issuer Circle has filed to go public in late April on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker CRCL. Here's my deal. And shout out to Circle. I mean, shout out to Circle and any other company that wants to go public. I get it. Especially you look at Circle, they've been in the stablecoin game for a few years. If you remember, they bought X, which is a big loss. I think they lost like $300 million on that, something like that. Here's the deal. And this is my overall deal when it not only comes to the institutions and companies, but it also goes to like a lot of the tokens in the space. And this is why I say so many people are here just for money and just to get rich quick. What has Circle done in this space? You know what I mean? They bought an old exchange, X, that no one was using for $300 million and then shut it down or sold it or whatever. And then they made a stablecoin, which Tether was already doing. So essentially, you just made a copycat of Tether to compete. This is what I mean. So you have this big institution. If you don't know, Circle's backed by Wells, or not Wells Fargo, they're backed by Goldman Sachs, of course, who are in bid with Chase and other companies. So this is one of those things where it's like they're calling it Circle. It's being led by Goldman Sachs, but is being led on behalf of other Wall Street institutions as well, right? Behind the scenes. So my point is one of those things where this institution came in with all these resources and all this money. They came late as well. I think Circle entered the scene, what, 2018, 2019, when they bought X or something like that, probably 2019 or something. But so they enter kind of late, and they don't do anything. They don't add anything. Like, they haven't added anything to the market. If you take out Circle and USDC stablecoin or whatever else, and X for that matter, you still have Tether, you still have a burgeoning market, you still have GUSD, right? You still have other stable coins out there, Gemini stablecoin. So again, to me, Circle as a whole, like I'm looking at BlackRock also, has not done anything to or for the community. They're just pulling from it. They're trying to get rich quick as well. So again, I'm not mad at it. But this to me is essentially the rhetoric and the narratives of the institutions. They're coming in, they're not doing much, they're moving things around, they're trying to force regulation where we don't need it, and then they're just going to sell their bag once once it's all said and done. They're just going to sell everything. This to me is the altcoin that says, hey, we're better than Bitcoin. We're going to do better with this, that, and the other. And then as soon as it gets to $5 from a penny, they sell it. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're better than Bitcoin, why would you sell it? Wouldn't this be the asset of the future? And they're like, oh yeah, well, it's got to get my dollars back first. It's like, I don't believe you. You need more people. So to me, this is the same thing. Circle comes in. My thing is, if your product as a private company is already doing so great, why do you want to go public? Or is it because your product as a private company isn't doing that great, and the only way to get those bags bought up is to go public? I get it. Not mad. I can see every other company doing the same thing. Eventually, all roads in crypto will most likely lead to a public offering or some type of a sell, some type of major sale. I get it. And a lot of the reasons the regulatory jungle, we'll call it, right? It's been crazy to get through this regulatory environment. Throughout the years, companies have lost money and they're ready to call it quits. Sometimes, again, a lot of them weren't here to be here long term. They're not here to make or change technology. They're here to sell something and to make more money. So again, makes sense as well. But the bottom line is like, it, it's to be expected, right? This wasn't big news to me. It was more to be expected. If anything is happening semi early and semi-late. And what I mean is Circle already had a wave when they actually bought Poloniex before people knew it was a dead exchange and they had USDC. To me, they should have been looking to go public then off that hype, right? That was a big hype cycle. We got our own exchange, we got our own stable coin. Boom, they should have did it then. So to me, they're kind of doing this late. And now on the flip side, they're also doing it too early because it's like, all right, well, you don't got an exchange, you have a stable coin, but it's in a competitive market. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I can see it working if they put their marketing and PR department at work overtime, right? If they're really like, Circle is the future to investing in stable coins and crypto. They do all that commercials and stuff. I kind of get it. Or since they control the portfolios like BlackRock, if Goldman Sachs says, you know what, we're going to take this entire New York firefighters fund and put it all into our IPO, or we're going to put it all toward our stable coin, then I get it, right? You can kind of promote it that way. But just on the surface, I'm not sure why the general public will want to buy a piece of Circle. I'm just not seeing it in the short term. But again, that's why I say I think they're a little bit too early on one side, right? They're too early right now, but they're too late when they kind of already could have done it before. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Shout out to Circle. It would definitely bring interest to the market, but a lot of that money that should have gone to the market will now be going again to that IPO and traditional side of the house. Once again, withdrawing or diluting or marginalizing the Bitcoin and crypto market overall by essentially adding another derivative, an IPO, instead of going straight to the market. So shout out to Circle. Hope it works out. But I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Hemiopatosis. I probably pronounced that wrong. Please count to three silently at the end of the show. When you sign off, put the icing on that outro and smooth your way on out, though. I got you. I got you. Appreciate that. Does it just click off sometimes? This is like a show. The Sopranos. That's why I had that exit song on there. It just stops. That's real life. Just boom. All right, GameStop is in the news. GameStop finishes $1.5 billion raise to add Bitcoin to his balance sheet. All right, kind of everything I just said. GameStop is semi doing the opposite, but they're looking toward the Bitcoin and crypto sector and market to more or less save them. I think that's what I mean, this market has essentially saved them and some of the types of people in this market. But GameStop has been mulling on this. I've seen these stories the last few weeks. I haven't said anything about it because it's just like, let me see you actually raise it. Let me see you actually buy it. I like to see steps completed. I want a product, but it looks like they're on their way. GameStop's board had greenlit an investment in Bitcoin and US dollar peg stablecoins using the convertible debt offering and cash reserves on March 25th. It's actually something very similar to that strategy, MicroStrategy, once known. Michael Saylor is also doing as well, using those convertible notes, convertible debt, and buying more Bitcoin on it. I don't know, some type of weird thing you can say debt and assets on the same balance sheet and then get more money. All right, some weird game they're playing on the traditional side. But video game retailer GameStop Corporation has finished a convertible debt offering that raised $1.5 billion with some proceeds earmarked for buying Bitcoin. And I just want to say GameStop should be thanking everyone in the retail community because you talk about a company that there's no reason to save. There's no nostalgia. I mean, I'm not going to go on a rant. Don't go on a rant, King. I will not go down this road of nostalgia because there isn't one. GameStop has not been a friend to the gaming community. For those who don't know about GameStop, so the way it works is there are not many brick and mortar stores to buy video games from. GameStop and EB Games have, I don't even know if EB Games is still around, but those were two of the most premier places to walk into the store and buy video games outside of like the Walmarts, Best Buys, and Targets of the day, right? These are stores that are just committed to video games. Sounds good. Easy process. Most of the store employees are knowledgeable, right? They're gamers most of the time. So going in to buy isn't a bad process by and large. The games are overpriced at times. The market is catching up to that pricing, but they have been overpriced for about 15, 20 years before right now they're just starting to catch up in the last 5 years as far as what pricing makes sense. Um, but it was this whole thing, right? So GameStop, you go in, you get an expert to help you out buying games, blah, blah, blah. Now, let's say you buy a game, you play it for a couple weeks, and you say, you know what, I beat it already, or I don't like it that much, or whatever else. Or you buy a video game system, right? You buy one of these new PS5s, it's worth 500 or 600 bucks, and you say, I've only used it for a couple months. Let me sell it back to GameStop because GameStop will buy back games and systems and all these other things, right? Well, when you go to sell it back, you can barely get like 10% on what the overall cost were, right? So you buy a PS5 for 600 bucks, you go back a month later to sell it back to them, they'll look at you with a straight face and say $50, right? You're like, $50? They're like, you're right, that's too much, $35. You give them your 30, or you give them the PS5, you get your $35 back. You leave. Oh, I forgot something. You go back in and get whatever you forgot on the counter, and your PlayStation send them back on the counter for sale at a discounted price of $550 instead of 600. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You just gave me 35 bucks for it. They're like, yeah, we know, but this is what we're selling it back for. Now imagine that for video games too. Video games cost 60 bucks. You buy one, you want to sell it back. They say, yeah, we'll buy it back for $3. You're like, get out of here. Like, the margins were super low that it turned a lot of gamers off of GameStop because they were like, you guys do unfair and shady business. And instead, a lot of gamers started going online to buy games, or secondary places, or secondary stores, smaller stores, or even like the bigger boxes like Walmart and Best Buy. But people were swearing off of GameStop as far as the gaming community. The only reason GameStop has any support is because it was used to manipulate whales a few years ago with the Wall Street boys and all that stuff with AMC. They're like, hey, a lot of the Wall Street guys, a lot of the big name institutions saw GameStop, saw their bad practices as well as AMC, and said, hey, this shit's going down the toilet. Let's short it. And of course, Wall Street bets and everybody else came and said, this is a way for us to beat Wall Street and the whales. Let's go all in on GameStop and AMC. And of course, it worked. Ever since then, GameStop has been back. Share price has been up. People have been talking about it nonstop for years. And now you see they're saying, hey, what's the next best thing to do? Now that we got the community on our side, let's keep pushing forward. Let's do a Bitcoin buy, right? That'll really get them on our side. The bottom line is this: GameStop, like a tiger, hasn't changed its stripes. It does not care about the community. It doesn't care about you and I. It doesn't care about gamers, which sucks since it's back in the limelight from all these people that essentially saved it when it doesn't care about these people or their hobbies and things that they expertise in. So I'll say this: it was cool to see. I'm glad they got their raise. That's why you can kind of, from my tone, gather why I didn't cover this story the other day. But it's cool to see. I want to actually see them buy the Bitcoin. I want to see them buy the Bitcoin. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if GameStop all of a sudden says, yeah, we got this $1.5 billion we raised for Bitcoin, but oh, we can only buy 10 million this week or this month, and we'll check back in 3 or 4 months. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they do not use the entire 1.5. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't use 1.3 billion on Bitcoin. Again, if you see a story with GameStop only using 10 to 20 to 30 million on Bitcoin, don't be surprised. They've been doing shady business for over 20 years. You all think they're going to wake up and stop? This is, to me, is the problem with this whole everything that's going on in the marketing community. This is the same thing you see with SBF, where they're like, oh, I'll give him another job. I'll give him some more money. Mr. Wonderful. And it's like, really? After that track record? So I'm looking at GameStop the same. It's like your track record for the community has been horrendous, yet the community decided to gather around and save you. All right. So again, good to see if they actually buy Bitcoin with it and jump on the Bitcoin train. Oh, it'd be great. But you can already see here in the first paragraph, they finished this convertible debt offering that raised $1.5 billion. And they're already saying with some proceeds earmarked for buying Bitcoin. You see how that changed that quick? With some, the headline is they finished a $1.5 billion raise to add Bitcoin. That was the plan. I saw it on the 25th as well. Convertible debt offering cash reserves to buy Bitcoin, right? And then all of a sudden on March 2nd, with some proceeds are going to be earmarked that quick. I'm trying to tell you, you all are crazy if you think dirty GameStop is about to use 1.5 billion on Bitcoin. So crazy and so easy to fool if that's what you think. The offering was initially set to raise at least 1.3 billion dollars, but purchasers opted for an additional 200 million dollar aggregate principal amount of notes. GameStop said in the April 1st filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the company expects to use the net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, there you go, including the acquisition of Bitcoin in a manner consistent with the company's investment policy. GameStop added, the convertible notes are debt that can later be converted into equity and are scheduled to mature on April 1st, 2030, unless earlier converted, redeemed, or repurchased. The conversion rate for the notes will initially be 33 shares of common stock per $1,000 principal amount of notes, according to the filing. Who would want some GameStop stock for Bitcoin? I'm kind of lost on this one, but whatever. However, they trick the general public or their private investors is up to them. I don't know. Again, you can read more into this story. GameStop's using Bitcoin to revive itself. My real question and what I'm looking to see is if and how much of this $1.5 billion they raised will be used on Bitcoin. That's going to tell us everything we need to know, folks. That's going to tell us a king can be a liar telling the truth here in the next month. GameStop got the money, right? They got the money. buy the Bitcoin. There's really nothing else to talk about or to do. Let's see if they do it. Let me see what you got in the comments. I see a couple of y'all talking about the GameStop in the comments. Let's see. I haven't looked at the GameStop earnings report. Are they going crazy right now? Are they going crazy? I haven't looked at the earnings report. So tell me, are they going crazy? Jake said technically GameStop doesn't care about the people and don't care, and the people don't care too. I agree. That's fair. Both sides are after getting money, no matter which everyone loses or both win together. I can agree with that. That's fair. Um, Super Mario said without Circle, a lot of ETH projects would collapse as they need Circle for swaps. All right. Could they use Tether for those same swaps, though? That's my question. Let me know. Let's see. June 24, call options for GME around earnings. Hedge funds are stuck shorting GameStop to prevent MOS. I'm thinking about losses, is what you meant to put. Funko Land, that's funny as I don't know what. If you're building gaming PC, GameStop has the cheapest hardware. People are buying GPUs for AI from GameStop. All right, there we go. So they're back in the mix selling GPUs. I didn't know they were doing GPUs right now. Let's see. Okay, good stuff. Let me know what's theater of the sir. What's going on with the balance sheets or the earnings report? Are they making money or are they losing it? Let me know. I'm assuming they're making it since you said it. Let me know though. Last but not least, I saw this story. I wanted to cover it because, and I want to give them a shout out. You got to give companies just as much as a positive shout out as you are being critical or pointing out bad things, right? You all know I like to be objective and balanced. I got to give a shout out to this next story. Go Mining. Go Mining launches $100 million Bitcoin mining fund for institutional investors. Why am I giving them a shout out, folks? If you remember, we've had GMT. If this is the same GMT, we've had Go Mining on this show, I think 2 or 3 times as promotion. I don't think we had anybody on their team come before, but I promoted them on the show the last 4 years, probably 3 or 4 years, for sure, 2 or 3 different times. I do remember that. I remember because, it was a win-win-win, right? Of course, I was paid for, it was sponsored or whatever. So that was a win on my end. Go Mining got some of you all as customers, so it was a win on their end. And for the people on this channel who actually started messing with Go Mining, you all are coming back to me like, yo, this is actually working. And some of y'all have been doing it for a couple of years now, which is crazy. So I can only imagine how many Satoshis you actually got. But yeah, the last few years, there's been a few warriors who've been using Go Mining. When we did it on the channel, they were hitting me up DMs like, yo, this low-key work. It's like they like it's slow, but it works. Essentially, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not about to do a promotion for it. Maybe it's in the story. But essentially, I think it allows you to like virtual mine or do some type of mining for Bitcoin. You do get rewarded in Satoshis. After we promoted, a few folks on the channel did start using it. They were reaching out to me saying it was working. I will say, even at the time when I promoted it, I was like, I'm not sure because we had saw so many like fake mining projects and scam mining projects, but they had been doing good for the last few years. They still been alive the last few years. And now this is the story we see from them. I was like, I got to cover it. I mean, shout them out. If they're doing a good job, they're doing a good job. It's few and far in between here in the space, and it's hard to find. So it looks like this new fund will differ from Go Mining's product aimed at retail miners and feature a 2% annual management fee. So here's my deal. This is what I'm going to go ahead and guess, my educated guess, and how I'm going to analyze this really quick before I break it down. First things first, I already understand why they want to do this, and I'm not mad at them. From the people in our channel, from some of you warriors who told me this worked and you all were making money in Satoshis, like I'm a small channel. I try to promote it. I'm not sure how their capital was or how their promotions went on bigger channels or on larger networks, but I did not see the retail environment or the retail market respond the way they wanted to, including myself, right? Even after some of you all told me it was working, I played with it a little bit. It was just like, man, I got too many projects, too much going on for me to sit down and really like pay attention to this. So I can understand why they would abandon the REITs, or not abandon, or maybe just rebalance some of their resources to the institutional market, because they're like, yo, we've tried, we work, we reached out to the retail market, they haven't really been using us. Like, we got to go institutional. So for one, I understand that rebalance. I'm not upset with that. Like, it makes sense. They like at least 2 or 3 years they've tried. This will be essentially if like tomorrow you saw like this a big Coinbase backing here, and I'd be like, hey, I tried to do it the right way. Y'all ain't want to listen to this DeFi decentralized stuff, right? Y'all wanted Coinbase. Here we are. So I'm not mad at that. And the second thing is, it means it actually works. It means it actually works, folks. I've done consulting and business on a small scale in this space, and I've scaled it up more because I realized, and some things I just stopped scaling. I did to myself, right? What do people always say? You're so good at it. Why are you teaching it? Why are you selling stuff? That's why I don't do it all the time. I just do it for my own personal stuff. Because it's like, you're right. If you're so good at it, you don't need to tell the world about it. You can just do it yourself and be fine on your own. I say all that to say, I think Go Mining is in that same boat. They're like, no, our product works. people who use and make Bitcoin or Satoshis or whatever, for whatever reason, we can't get the retail market. So what should we do? Let's just go get the institutions. Let's charge them that 2% fee. And because we know we're going to make the money back, and boom, we use the same thing we're going to use for the retail market for the institutional market. It makes sense. If it's still working and it continues to work, I'm with them. I would abandon the retail market. I would start going after banks and wealth management firms and everyone else who's jumping into these Bitcoin ETFs or crypto, this and that, and they need a way to custody it. Why custody it with Coinbase or one of these other big exchanges that's not getting you anything back when you can partner up with GoMining? And again, this isn't a commercial for them. I'm just saying they've been doing a good job, so I'm not mad at them. I'm gonna give them a hand clap and a pat on the ass, and hopefully they can get move forward as well. So, GoMining, a platform that allows users to mine Bitcoin through data centers, is launching a $100 million Bitcoin mining fund for institutional investors. Custody, oh, they are using somebody else to custody. All right, that answered that question. Y'all know I don't read the articles now. That's being real. Custody by BitGo, the fund promises annual distributions from mining yield and a strategy that focuses on Bitcoin rewards and reinvestment. Go Mining Alpha Blocks Fund comes as more companies have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. Exactly. Yep. Capturing enthusiasm. So, all right. So, I'm not going to read it because essentially I just analyzed it the right way. I'm pretty decent at this job, it looks like. But if you want to see the whole article, it's here on Cointelegraph. Again, I'm not going to go into it. It gets into the nitty gritty. I'll put this quote: a Go Mining spokesperson told Cointelegraph, BTC rewards are reinvested to increase the fund's hash rate and improve our miner efficiency, creating real yield driven outcomes. Our model is built for performance, not market sentiment, and integrates utility based advantages that listed mining companies typically don't offer. So I will say this. The only thing I'll watch out for, and again, this doesn't affect us on the retail side. This is more institutional side, but I know I do have institutional listeners, so I'll put this forewarning out. First, for the retail market, this is good for us because the more of these programs that come along that are looking at institutions saying, yes, it's okay to custody your Bitcoin. Not only is it safe to do it, but we can make you even more money by rediverting some of those funds and resources into our mining program and things like that. So that's only going to add for a pricier Bitcoin and a pricier market for us all, right? So all our bags will be increased by moves like this from companies like GoMining. So first things first, shout them out because that's good for the retail market as a whole. And then on the institutional side, it's going to be just as good because again, now these companies say, well, we have a place to park it. We don't just have to keep it in a quasi savings account or whatever else like that. And GoMining is here. Now, the thing I would warn these institutions about, in my won't be a red, but my yellow flag for Go Mining from the beginning since I first met him has always been how. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't done a super deep dive into figuring out how. When they first introduced me, I did some minor deep dives and I had a lot of question marks as if there were a lot of dead ends at the time. At the time, I haven't looked recently, but at the time, it was like, okay, who are y'all? Where are y'all based? How is this working? Like, what algo do you have in the background? Like, how do you get it right? And so many people get it wrong. And I still hadn't been able to really answer those questions. Not saying I've still done those deep dives, but my point is, if you're an institution, unless you do that real deep dive to me, like, all right, I want to know, like, show me the damn algorithm. Like, show me how this works. Show me where you're located. Show me who you are. Like, I still would be leery because either they are doing right and it works, or this is the next biggest rug and they've been waiting, lying in wait for the last few years. I don't think that's what it is. I think they've done a good job. But again, I would want to know exactly how. But shout out to Go Mining. Way to level up. Congratulations. And I was happy to cover that story. I always love seeing crypto companies that have been around that are doing a good job. So far, they've been doing a good job. If they can move forward with this and it works, I think again they honestly, this move from Go Mining could account for another 2%, 1 to 2% of Bitcoin's overall price point. Because if this works, they're only going to pump more money into it. More institutions are going to adopt it, and you'll gradually see more of that money roll into Bitcoin. So I'm happy to see it. All right, let's see. Other than that, that is the show for today. Looking at the last couple of comments, and I'm gonna give those 3 or 4 seconds, like someone said, so I can sign out the right way. Okay, Theater of Absurd. I'm thinking he's talking about GameStop. Said they are making money. The Bitcoin play does deserve unbiased analysis, but they are making money as an online retailer. They're closing stores. Okay, yeah. Shout out to them on the online side. He said they are making money as they're closing stores. All right, shout out to them as well. Let's see. That Circle stock is looking good when IPO. I know folks who got in on the pre-IPO. Now that part I will agree with you. And Jake Fever hit it on the head. He's like, hey, same with GameStop. I'm sure with Circle Crowd. Hey, So what they're a bank? So what they're Goldman Sachs? So what any of that? Can I make my money? And on the Goldman Sachs side, so what community? So what whatever. We tried to buy exchange, it didn't work. Now we got a stable coin. It's kind of working. Like, let's make some money. All right. So I agree with you, Enzo. I'm sure. I mean, look, it's a Goldman, it's not even a I don't even call it a circle stop or IPO. It's a Goldman Sachs product IPO. Goldman Sachs, all right, they're making money. I agree. They're going to make some dough on that. So yeah, if you're interested, I for sure agree with you. I think they will make some dough. Now, how long does it stay being made? I don't know. Will it sell on the first day? We'll see. But I do agree with you on that. Let's see. All right. Other than that, it looks like those are the comments and the show for the day. Make sure you smash that like and share. And I will see you all back on Friday with some more news. Like I said, it's been a slow cycle. I don't expect any big news stories. The only thing that big that could happen is if the first family decides to throw us a curveball, which we've been seeing. But other than that, it's been a probably it's kind of been a predictable and slow news cycle. I don't think honestly we're gonna come back with a daily cycle probably until at least probably another 4 to 6 weeks. Once some of these task forces kind of they're in the office right now, they're figuring out the way forward. Once they come out with new news as far as, all right, this is the regulatory guideline here, this is the guideline here, this is the guideline here, I think then that's where you see the news cycle start back up because then you'll have projects, institutions, and everyone else responding to it, and they'll have their updates as responses. All right. So, for example, how they said meme coins are securities. You can expect a new meme coin to come out and say, all right, well, since we're not security, we just did this new update where we're, doing essentially a new ICO part of it, right? I don't know, but you'll see more news stories come out as the guidelines are kind of laid out. So right now it's kind of quiet as that's being figured out. Once we figure that out, once we get some responses from these ETF, the responses being no, but here's why, we'll start to see a lot more news cycles start to spin up again as these companies kind of position themselves for Q3 and Q4 this year as well. But right now we're in Q2. It's starting off slow. We had a very interesting Q1. It was nonstop, right? I mean, forget daily. We could have just kept this thing rolling like just 24/7. We would have had news stories for you. So, little lull to be expected. I see you all Friday. I'm sure they're going to kick something off by then. If not Friday night and Monday morning, we'll probably get a crazy story. We'll see. Smash that like and share, and I will see you all on Friday. Cheers. 2001, 2002, 2003.